All right，现在到时间已经过了4点钟，我们现在就正式开始。那今天呢是我们这个系列讲座的第3讲，也就是8月份，我们今天是8月份的最后一个周末，也是8月份系列讲座的最后一讲。那当然9月份的话，我们会有更精彩的讲座呈现给大家。那今天的话呢，我们还是请到了我们的honorable alumni。from Areteem programs， 我们一起来跟大家分享关于大学申请升学规划的一个非常重要的方面，就是这个课外活动的安排。今天我们讲会 cover 几个方面的内容，一个方面是关于课外活动的规划，就是应该做什么样的课外活动，应该就是说怎么样合理的花适当的时间做课外活动，又能表现你自己个人的特质。再就是我们今天需要 cover 的就是最后你到了就是你 work so hard in your high school 到最后要申请的这个时候，怎么样能够把你自己的最好的这个特质能够呈现出来。那所以呢，我们今天呢，似乎还少一位嘉宾 ，but anyway， okay, so hold on, somehow he messed up. Okay. Oh, that's not what I want to go. Okay, so我们还是简单的介绍一下 Areteem 学院。Areteem 的话，成立于2004年，总部位于美国南加州，但实际上我们的学生呢是遍布全美和世界上其他国家，所以我们非常自豪，有这么多的学生，这么多的在从不同的这个地理位置来加入我们的这个 program。Areteem 的话呢，也做事情一向非常严谨，所以我们是极少数的经过这个美国西部就是这个正式的教育资质的认证的这个培训机构。那我们的 A 课程的话，也是经过 College Board 大学委员会的正式授权。我们现在正式授权的包括 AP Computer Science、AP 物理课程。再就是我们这个在奥数和数理培训方面，就是被家长公认为是美国在奥数以及数理培训方面的这个王牌这样的 program。我们的教师培训项目也是非常的受很多的私立学校和公立学校老师的欢迎。再就是我们的课程包括数学以数理为主吧，就是数学、物理、计算机工程。计算机科学方面的这个课程最小的学生的话有3年级，小学3年级一直到初中、高中，甚至于 AP 课程，相当于大学2年级的一些课程。我们的数学竞赛也是非常受大家欢迎。今天呢王峰博士上回是有主持我们的这个讲座哈，那今天的话他也会在这边，假如有家长特别有问题问他的话，他也可以回答，但是今天主要是我来主持，和我们的另外5位大学生我们的这个嘉宾来分享他们个人的经历和他们个人对于大学申请的一些非常有见地的这个看法。那我本人的话，大家很多人都已经比较熟悉了。那我主要现在呢，在负责这个升学规划和这个大学学费规划这些方面的这个program。今天的嘉宾呢有Helen 庞，现在在 Harvard。是读statistics 就是统计学。我们另外一位是 Grace 和是在 Columbia 的double major， 非常棒的女孩，读computer science 和 financial engineering double major， 非常重的2个专业的课程。 Cory 是我们的这个足球这个数学足球明星，这是很难得的一个 combination 哈。他今天还会跟大家来分享他的课外活动。Claire 是在 UPenn 读 Computer Science。Jeannie 是在 UC Berkeley， 应该也是She's not here today? She's here, okay, yeah. 那我们到最后的话呢，就是大家如果是觉得我们的信息对大家有帮助，然后想做一些具体的关于您的孩子的一些 planning， 可以扫右边这个号码跟我们做这个约定一些这个免费的1对1的这种咨询的这种活动。所以的话今天的话呢，我们没有准备很多的 slides， 因为这个话题的话实际上就是关于课外活动啊，关于这个申请这部分的聊起来的话还是应该是蛮自由的，因为是各个人都可以他有他不同的这种见地和他的不同的经验，所以我们没有说一个固定的模式，所以我们今天呢就是以这个相当于访谈那种形式，让这个观众听到我们这个5位已经在名校读书的这个大学生他们的分享。好，那我们就开始我们今天的分享。首先呢，我想问这个 panelists， 就是我们make sure they understand 我来讲英文哈，所以我们so the panelists we're going to talk about extracurricular activities, and also we're going to talk about when you put together your application package, how you tell your story. Everybody is unique. That's, the college admission offices always say, college application is art, it's not science. They want to see some uniqueness. So I like to see how you guys put together your presentation package to make yourself unique. I'm sure that experience is going to be very helpful for our students, our parents, to help their students as well. So let's start with extracurricular activities. So how do I see their video?
They should turn on. They already turned on.
So all the panelists, could you turn on your video or do?
They already did. So.
Okay, where?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
The Jeannie doesn't have the co-host yet.
Okay, let me see. Let me make sure. Jeannie, make co-host. Yeah, it feels much better to see you because I had the window closed. I see, who am I talking to? And now it's good that I see you guys here. So it feels much better. All right. So so the first thing I'd like you guys to share is how you what you did in terms of extracurricular activities in high school, and why you did that, and how do you think is related to your college application?
Hi, I'll go first. So,
Okay.
So I guess first I'll start with the academic extracurriculars and then more of the non-academic extracurriculars.
Yep.
So academically, I did, besides all the math competitions and stuff. So since we already talked about that, besides all the math competitions and math camps, I taught my own middle school math club. I coached their math club, so we did like math counts for middle school. I did that for 4 years, and I think that was pretty important to my college application because it demonstrated my interest in math, but it also demonstrated my interest in sharing math with other people, which I wrote about a lot in my application because one thing that I wanted to do later on was to become a math teacher. And then I also demonstrated this sharing math with others with being the Region 2 coordinator of Florida's Math Association. So I would also be in charge of my region for math. And then outside of math extracurriculars, I also was in Future Business Leaders of America. So I was in that club for 4 years. And that club, I used that club to demonstrate my leadership and also my interest in business. And then non-academic extracurriculars, I started a club where we volunteered at the local Ronald McDonald House for 3 years, and that also was to show like leadership and stuff, and I also wrote essays on that, so that was helpful too. And then I played varsity lacrosse for 4 years because like I enjoyed the sport, and I also did karate for 4 years. And I continued karate because I had done it since I was in middle school. And I think that was important to my application because it showed a continuation and a commitment to something. And also because I was very close with my community and my instructors. And one of my instructors ended up writing me a letter of recommendation, which I felt was a big part of my application.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot. Of course, math competition itself is already taking a lot of your time, right? And also you did some other clubs, and you have 2 sporty type of, activities. So I guess, people will be wondering how you manage your time. Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I was very busy. I think one of my best ways that I saved time was I tried to do all my homework in school. So I wouldn't do homework. I would try not to do homework at home unless I had to, because then after school I would have all the extracurriculars or sports or something. So I would try to do my homework in class, like for other class, even though the teachers didn't really like it. But I did try to do that or study for tests in class. But that was one way that I felt was useful in saving time. Another is just to really, you have to really be on top of things. Like I had a planner that was I used a lot, so that really helped me manage my time too.
All right, that sounds really good. All right, so anybody else want to go next?
Yeah, so I'll start with academics like Jeannie. So I did Science Olympiad, both in middle school and high school, and I participated in invitationals, regional competitions, and state competitions. I also did this engineering competition called Teams. I also listed in my application stuff I did during my summers. So that includes Yale Young Global Scholars. I also did research over the summer at Columbia. So that's with like one of the professors at Columbia. And I did an internship, a research internship in electrical engineering. I also participated in Columbia Science Honors Program, which essentially is you have to take a test to get into, and then you are able to take classes taught by Columbia University graduate students. So they taught some really interesting classes like geometry and topology, data analysis, and other really niche topics. Aside from academics, I did ballet. So ballet actually took up a lot of my time. I've done ballet for about 12 years now. So this included like pre-professional ballet. So I would go with the New Jersey Ballet Company on tour during the winter across New Jersey to perform Nutcracker. So I also did Chinese traditional dance and was able to show leadership there by being the president for 2 years. I also was part of the National Art Honor Society at my school and was head of STEAM night. So STEAM is STEM and art. So that's to like nurture students' interest in art as well as STEM and the cross intersection between them. And besides that, I also did tutoring on the side, private tutoring, voluntary tutoring as part of National Honor Society. Yeah.
So yeah, by listening to Grace, I just feel like she's a super girl. Oh my God, you do the ballet. I know ballet takes so much time, right? It takes 5 days a week.
Yeah, we have rehearsals on the weekend, and it is physically painful at times.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So obviously ballet, you had to start really early, right? So you did 12 years. That means you started like 5 or 6 year old.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess for students, for parents with younger students, I guess that's something you need to plan early to do. It's harder to catch up, when the kids are older, right? For that.
Yeah, it's definitely possible to start in middle school if you want to. Just depends on kids' perseverance, their interest. If they want to do it, then they'll motivate themselves to do it.
Okay. So so I would say your experience. I think last time Helen mentioned that too. So by participating in the math competition makes your brain really works faster. So that way you don't really need to spend a whole lot of time on homework. So that way you have time, to do a lot of other things. So that apply to you too?
Yeah, definitely. I also did most of my homework after school. I would stay at school, and then that's where I participate at clubs and then do homework. But I also did homework at rehearsals. There are times when you don't dance. Gotta focus on your homework. Take advantage of the time that you have. Always take advantage of any time that you have to do homework, because high school they tend to pile up on homework.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sounds really cool. I guess you don't see a whole lot of computer scientists in ballerinas, right? And
yeah.
You don't see a whole lot of ballerina in computer science either. But you have done the best in both worlds. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of my profile, being someone who's decent at dance, who also was interested in STEM.
Yeah.
I was able to demonstrate some sort of skill level in STEM.
Yeah.
A hard combo and the profile that I was trying to sell to the colleges I applied to.
Yeah, definitely that make you stand out. That's awesome. Okay, so who's next?
I can go.
Cory.
So if people have heard me talk, if you've attended these, you've probably heard me mention that my goal moving into the college application process with respect to my extracurricular selection was that I wanted to show a breadth of interest. I wanted to show I'm interested in this, I'm also interested in this, I'm interested in this, and how that makes me unique as a person. For example, not that this is totally unique, but I played varsity football for 5 years, and I was also president of my school's math team. And I think that cultivating these sets of clubs that maybe don't necessarily always go together kind of help paint a picture of who I was. Now, also, if you've been here, you've heard me talk about how I probably took that breadth of interest thing a little too far. And I did more clubs than I should have. So, I mean, just to name a few, there was the math, there was quiz bowl, there was Spanish team, there was science bowl, there are a few more, but I did 7 academic teams or something that just wasn't reasonable. And I also did poetry recitation competitions and things like that. And I think that at the end of the day, when I had all of that on paper, it it really cluttered my narrative of what I wanted to get across to the colleges.
Yeah.
I would say the most important things to me, if I could go back and do it again, one was football. I mean, football was a huge part of my life. And I spent a monstrous amount of time on it. Two would probably be my involvement with math, because I think that football made me stand out and caught college's attention, because it's not a normal thing that everyone does. And then they were like, oh, and he does math, so he's not just an athlete. And then my third one would probably be smaller actions that I took in the math club. So I set up a tutoring and mentorship program. Like Jeannie, I actually also coached my middle school's math team for 3 years, not 4. Sorry, I'm a slacker. But I think that those are more consistent with what I wanted to get across. And I should have focused on those a little more.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last time as well. So again, just like Grace, it's hard to find, in people who are in STEM field to be a ballerina. I think it applies to Cory as well. It's hard to find a football player in STEM field either, right? So do you get a lot of walls when you say that, in MIT, in MIT, when you say that you're a football player and for so many years and did so well, how do people respond to that?
Well, to be completely honest, there are a lot of people here who do not like football and have not shied away from expressing that with me. But also, something kind of interesting about MIT is that 22, 23, something like that, 22 or 23% of the undergraduate body actually plays a varsity sport. So there's a lot of athletes here, and so I think that that's kind of normalized sports as a whole.
That's
even though I thought it was going to be weird when I came to MIT being a football player, and I wouldn't have a lot of people who would share a heavily athletic background in high school. But I was wrong, because I mean, you have that quarter of the students, but then you have another quarter who played varsity sports in high school and just didn't continue. So I mean, I would say it's actually a pretty normal thing once I got here. It's just more of a stigma that people have about MIT.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. Very cool. Next.
I can go next. So probably the biggest activity I did in high school was coaching my middle school's math team for all 4 years. And my middle school didn't really have any sort of math team, so I kind of like helped pioneer that. And so I wrote some essays about that, because colleges really like to see the community service that you've done and like how you've impacted your community. And some essays will be specifically about like describe something you've done that's impacted your community. And then other than that, I was the captain of my mock trial team. And then during my summers, I always made sure to do some sort of program. So I did Awesome Math, and then I also did Canada USA Math Camp for 2 summers. And then I did like gymnastics for 2 years of high school.
Gymnastics, yeah. So you started that early or just started in high school?
I actually started it when I was really young, just because I was really interested in it.
Mm-hmm. And you had been doing that until, up to high school, or are you still doing?
Yeah, I did it up to high school, but only up to my sophomore year of high school, and then I quit after that.
Okay, all right, yeah. See, yeah, I guess for a lot of students who didn't do like a long-term kind of engagement like ballet or football, I guess, at least, one thing is totally approachable and you can start in high school is to start a, math club to coach some other younger kids, right? I guess that's one of the, very approachable and efficient and to show your interest and also to help other people, right?
Yeah, I definitely say try to do something related to community service within a field that you're really interested and passionate about helping other people in. So that'll be very beneficial to you.
Yeah, okay. All right, sounds good. Helen, you're still muted.
Oops, my bad. So I guess I'll split it up like people have done before with academic related first. So I did research at a local university in organic chemistry, and that was with an MIT and NASA Kentucky like collaboration. And I've talked about this before, but one of the main points in my essay that I also talked about was I founded a Girls in STEM club at my high school, which led to me chairing Girls in STEM state board and then directing a national board. And so I did a lot of work with promoting women in STEM and doing like education in STEM and did a lot of different service. So that was really my biggest service related work. At school, I also was, like Jeannie, president of Future Business Leaders of America, was junior class treasurer and beta club treasurer, and I interned at a tech startup, and then not really academic related, where I was on varsity girls tennis, and then in music, I played cello, so I was in all national and all state orchestra, and then I also performed in the Sydney Opera House, and then I was in choir too, and I sang in Carnegie Hall with a local choir. And then at my church, I was praise leader and youth group leader. So I did a lot of music things as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's very good. Very good experience too, and also a lot. When I hear everybody talk about it, I just feel like, oh my God, it is so much. So a lot of students will have this question as well. A lot of parents actually ask me, how they only have, that a fixed number of hours each week, how we can pick and choose the activities other than, in addition to all the, coursework or the study. So let me ask the panelists. So obviously you all did a lot, but for students, maybe you have not as, how do I say this, not as strong as you guys. And if you recommend, if you have some suggestions for students who do need some more extra time to do like homework and study, and then they don't have so much time to do extracurricular, do you have any suggestions for them to choose what kind of extracurricular to do?
So if I had to give advice to students, I would say to really choose extracurriculars that you truly care about and that you're very genuinely interested in and passionate about. Because one important thing when applying to colleges is to demonstrate, a continued commitment all 4 years. I think personally, I think that's very important, right? So if you don't really like an extracurricular that much, then it would be harder to continue that for 4 years. And it would be even harder to do that in addition to your other extracurriculars and schoolwork as well. So I think if you're struggling with time management, maybe kind of sit back, look at all the things you're participating in and think about which ones you don't like that much or you're not that interested in, and then focus on the ones that you are truly more passionate about.
Yeah, I would also say that there is an element of like playing the game sort of idea where you like choose clubs that are like less popular, maybe that like, because if everyone does like a service club, then it's probably better to do your own service so that it's different. I mean, but also a lot of times it follows with like, if everyone's doing it, you probably don't really care about the club or the activity as well. And then I also think you have to really choose clubs smartly. Like some things are just a lot of time commitment. So if you choose work that is maybe like lower time commitment and you also do enjoy it, I think that's really the smartest thing to do. Like for example, Future Business Leaders in America, it was a very low time commitment because it's only like really active in the spring. So I only really had to do club work for like 3 months out of the year. So just things like that where you try to think smartly about how you can use your time best. And like also, for example, like in tennis, I was varsity tennis, but our team didn't have many girls. So anyone who showed up was varsity actually. So just like small things like that, where if obviously like your main points have to definitely be things that you're passionate about, but sometimes you can sort of like fix, you can sort of like find like loopholes or maybe like times where it's easier to do something, or you know, just be smart about what you spend your time doing.
Yeah, I think like in addition to what both Jeannie and Helen said, is also like if you see something that you think you can have an impact on a club, that's also really important. Whether that's like you have ideas for the direction of the club, you think you'll stand out, you think you can become president or vice president or any of the board positions, that's like something you could also pursue to show leadership. But also, yeah, so my freshman year, I actually applied to be part of our Model UN club. And I applied so I could improve my public speaking skills because I was not confident in them. And I did get in. However, the following year I did quit because I did not think it was worth my time, nor did I think that I could make an impact or I could stand out. So I decided to allocate this time instead on something else, such as Science Olympiad, where I could instead demonstrate my skills and like win awards and somehow show some improvement or achievement.
Yeah, and to add on to what everyone said, I think it's also really important to utilize your summers. Some college applications will specifically ask like what you've done in your past summers, and they really like to see that you've taken the initiative to like either do like a summer program or maybe start an activity related to what you're interested in over the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything that everyone said already, but just to especially piggyback off of Jeannie and Grace's answers, the passionate thing is huge because first of all, if you're passionate about it, you will make time for it. And so it won't feel like a chore. It will make your day a little bit lighter if it's something that you actually look forward to. At least that was the case for me. But also to the tune of Grace's answer, having an impact is huge. So if you can achieve those leadership positions and then you can implement some sort of change, like I was very proud of, as I mentioned earlier, the tutoring and mentorship program that I set up with the math team. And that was something that the math team was tutoring both itself and the entire school. And I think that was something that kind of showed both something that I cared about and that I had the initiative to kind of step up, group a bunch of people together and do something for the greater good of the school.
Yeah.